Welcome to
how many people
bonus.
just bumped in straight away.
Welcome to our bonus live this evening. We are so excited for you to meet some really special people.
We actually have never done this before, so
we need a
join
little
us
bit
for
of
the ride.
Join us for the tech ride. We
Yeah.
need a little bit of tech grace while we do something technologically that we haven't done before here. Are you gonna do it?
Oh, great! We're going straight away.
Yeah.
Rock on. Okay, cool.
And I will tell you a little bit of a teaser. So I wanted to just recap a little bit about our conversation this morning. Who was here this morning on the live when we talked about the archetype of the reconnected parent? Oh, Isaac! Busted midway.
Hey, I still got to keep going.
Oh, sorry.
The pressure is on. Hi, I will come back to saying a full hello after I type in all of these names.
Emma's going to take time to just be adding people as we go, but who was here when we were talking about the reconnected parent this morning? We want to introduce you to a few of our core crew and Sandhya,
who looks so vibrant.
And welcome Varishka, and welcome Kashmira. Hey guys.
Hi.
Just settle in because we're just going to we're actually keeping on going. We've never done this before with so many people. Here's Deb. Welcome, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Hi. Squeeze in, or otherwise it'll be.
Oh, right, yeah.
I've invited everyone, so
just can we get some feedback? Can you see us, or do we have to go like this?
Oh, I can see you both.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool.
Oh, it's
so
lovely to see you all.
Well, thank you guys for coming and being willing to come on the other side of the camera. It takes like quite a bit of nervous system regulation to be willing to like step on the stage. So appreciate it.
Can you see that I called it the panel of awesome? We actually didn't have a name for this live. And it was the most resonant one.
Yeah. So actually we wanted to invite you guys to come on and chat with everyone, because what we found when we do the nervous system reset is that Emma and I get up here and we share all of our stories. And sometimes because we've been doing breathwork for so long, it can feel a little bit unrelatable. People often feel like we can share these from this place because we've been doing breathwork for 20 years or Emma's been doing it for, however many years, many years. And so we really wanted to invite you guys to come and share your experiences, and also to give everyone who's here an opportunity to get in touch with some of our precious members of the Reconnected team and the Reconnected community. So we really appreciate it. Maybe what we could do, because I think one of the challenges we're going to have is like we'll all be polite and not want to talk over each other on the live. And maybe we could go around. I think we might be seeing the same circle of people, and maybe we could go around starting at Sandhya and say hi and introduce yourself, and a little maybe a little bit about when you started breathwork as just a little bit of an icebreaker. Yeah, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Sandhya. I live in Victoria, Australia, and I started breathwork in 2021. First started breathwork with the 5-day free thing, whatever it was called back then.
In a different one, yes.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if it was called the nervous system reset. I don't know. Anyway.
It was 5 days of reconnected breath, I think it was called.
Yeah. So that's when I first came to it, just by chance, really. I didn't go looking for it. yeah, and then was sold. And now I'm a breathwork practitioner.
I know, so good. Thanks, Sandy.
All right, Kashmira.
You're next, I think, Cash.
And a lot of people are going to recognize Kashmira. She's one of our mentors for Reconnected.
Thank you. I think my circle is different than yours, so I'm glad you said the name. I came to Breathwork through the 5-day free nervous system reset in the beginning of 2022.
Wow.
It was the first one in the 2022, and it was a very rock bottom place for me. It was in desperation, like a real desperation. And after the 5 days, that was it. I did the 21 days and then pretty much every offering that you've ever done since. and now I'm here. So yeah, it's been life-changing.
Yes, amazing, Cash. Actually, Emma and I were remembering that one, like remembering the first 5-day that you did and just reflecting on now you're like the mother hen tending to everyone having their new experiences.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
Yeah.
To feel like the full circle happening. Yeah. We'll get a chance to reflect. Varushka, you're next on our, if we're going, we'll go back around. Yeah. Yeah.
I also, hello, it's so beautiful to be here. And I actually remember, Kashmira, I joined the Nervous System Reset when you were on. And you were such a big, because you were so interactive, it was so helpful for me because I was quite passive. And I didn't do this reset then, but I did the next one. And so you were like a gateway person. And I love that we're doing our training together now. Yeah, it was such a big, that's why I love this community so much. It's been such a healing place. And I also came to Breathwork on the 5-day nervous system reset. I'm so grateful for the internet because we get to explore all these ideas and connect so beautifully with you all. And Breathwork just changed my life. I also came to the Reconnected in such a deep, dark place of pain and just lack of worthiness, and just was really struggling to show up in life, but really in deep state freeze. And it just unlocked. I felt like I met myself again, and that was homecoming. So, yeah, really great.
I love that.
Thanks, Varushka.
And I'm from Joburg. I didn't really introduce myself. I just jumped right into the.
I love that.
Right here for
I was
it.
like, yeah, we're just going there.
Yeah,
I think it's just the kind of
Deep dive.
people we are. You know, Varushka, so can I get this right? Sorry, this is just purely for me. So you were at the 5-day free nervous system reset and you met virtually Kashmira at that one.
Yeah,
and
because
Kashmira went on to do the 21-day and you didn't. And then later on you came back. Wow. But you remember Kashmira from that?
Yeah,
5
other
days?
people remember Kashmira in the
Hell
chat.
yes.
I love that so much.
Because I was too scared to put my stuff out. I was in such freeze. I thought, how does this person show up and be so vulnerable? And it catalyzed me because I can be really vulnerable and share, and I'm a really emotional person, but it really struck me. And I saw how much he got from the the exchange. So yeah, really powerful. Witnessing others,
beautiful.
and then it catalyzes your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know so many people are going to resonate with
Holding back.
Being the person who's the quietest person in the room and seeing others able to communicate or sharing what they're sharing from whatever place they're in or whatever is driving them to share, and wishing that they could speak up and wishing they could be a part of it. You know, like for example, often we kind of have this approximate sense of like how many people are participating, but then we have this sense of like who we know, who we're getting to know. So we know full well that there are hundreds of people that we like haven't yet had the chance to get to know.
Yeah.
You know,
they're just not
they're
quite
just not
ready
quite
yet.
ready to share. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Deborah.
Deborah, you're next.
So my story is a little different. I came to Breathwork through the Reconnected parenting program when it was back in Kajabi. And
Goodness.
yeah, and even back then, I didn't really engage with the content or the breathwork. I may have done it a couple times, but the offering really resonated for me. And then it just took me time to get into it. And when I came back to breathwork, it was just a full body yes to become a facilitator and trained as a practitioner. And that was in 2022. And then I just haven't looked back since then. So sometimes it just takes time to stew a little. And I just knew that the timing was right when it's right. And there was no hesitation that this was the next step on my journey to go deeper. And I just had I was in a lot of pain for many, many years. And I just had this yearning to just keep looking for the truth, keep looking for the truth of who I was. So that's what led me to that work.
Amazing, Deb. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And Deb's one of our amazing coaches who you would see all throughout the 5-day.
We actually have a comment here saying Deborah is the one who responded so beautifully to me that I committed to the 21 days. I'm so grateful for her.
Yeah. That's so nice. You know what? One of the things I love about having this opportunity to for you guys to like speak into the space and be here in a more physical way is like, I don't know if you guys will relate to this, those of you who are tuning in, but you know, when you read someone's comment and if you know them, you can hear their voices.
Yeah.
So because I know all of you guys, when I read the comments, I can hear your voices, but I'm aware that, you know, for people who are just here first getting to know us, they don't have the same nuanced connection to the words and things. So it's really nice, Min, for you to be able to hear Deb's voice and get to know her a bit more properly, and it's great.
And then we have Shelby, and if you have joined us before, we have spoken to Shelby in our community because we love talking to her and listening to her story around breathwork. So hi, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Shelby. I first did one of your offerings in February 2022, but I remember you doing some stuff in 2021, and this other community member, Paloma, she kept telling me to join or something. I made friends with her on Instagram, and I was like, oh, it's too good to be true, you know, like a free offering. And then I did like your HAR challenge, or you did a wealth generator, and that's where I saw cash first. And yeah, but I live in Canberra. I'm from America, so I've got a background with children and snow sports and summer camp, so all the fun stuff, but had my own kids. And yeah, I've just been through a lot of hard times, like adjusting, I think, because being here without my own family and my experiences has like opened connection with my in-laws more, and you know, helped me not rely on like the mummy wine at the end of the day and the doom and gloom I used to feel. And now I'm pregnant with my third. I didn't think it was possible like to go there again with my birth history. It's been pretty hectic. And now I'm in the training with Eleanor to become a RBM, rebirthing breathwork facilitator. And I don't know, really resonate with this style completely. And it's, you know, I was in a breathe today, just so grateful for when Eleanor was saying today, when you were saying, yeah, no pressure, no force. And that's exactly what I love about that baseline of the breath work. And when I first did it, the 15-minute one, you know, I was wanting to feel like I'm a safe place for my daughters, and that they're always like loved no matter what. And I think I just wanted to expand my capacity to hold them and myself. And I feel like this week is like I've really landed deeper in that. So yeah, I really appreciate these free offerings. I jump on every time and just join and get in the energy you all bring.
So good. How cool is at breathing with so many people, you know, especially something as unique as this.
Honestly,
It's like so cool that even if you're like a seasoned breath worker and you like breath work's part of your life, it's like I just wouldn't give up the opportunity to be with so many people. It's so good.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. You know, I'd love to hear a little bit about it's really profound thinking back to life before breath work. I don't know if you guys relate, but for me, I can't really remember it anymore.
I do. It's pretty rough.
I think possibly for me it's because it's been my entire adult life. You know, I was literally 20, so it's been my entire adult existence has been life with breath work. Like I'm blessed in that sense. But I witnessed this thing where it's like it's incredible the amount of pain you can get in before you are ready for something like this. Or it's incredible the way it just like falls in your lap like that, you know, like it just comes to you and suddenly your life's transformed.
Yeah.
And I'd love for anyone who kind of feels the ping from you guys to share a little bit about life after breath work. Does anyone feel like they've got a ping? Yeah, Cash.
Yeah, I'm so keen to talk to this because it's still fresh for me because it's only been a couple of years and it's such a dramatic shift. Like it really was such a tough time before breathwork. And today I was reflecting. I actually had to get my journal out because I knew there was a couple of things that were big shifts and I couldn't remember them. Like I remembered the time and the moment that like a new decision had been made or a belief had been changed, and I could see like the trajectory that had happened from that point, but I couldn't actually remember like what the old belief was. And today I was flicking through my journal and looking back, and before breathwork, I definitely was in the like my whole life before my daughter was born, that hustler pleaser space, and then when my daughter was born, it went into that avoider pleaser space. It just the complete overwhelm, and I was just at this rock bottom. And I remember at the beginning of the breathwork, I had like these ideas of what's possible, but they were so small. And where I'm at right now, like it feels like that I wake up in the morning and I'm lit up. I'm so excited by life. I want to live my day. Like everything is exciting to me. I really tapped into, I'm going to kind of probably jump into a few things, but I just tapped into some big core beliefs about like opposing ones, that I am not enough and that I am too much. And so I was living from this opposing place of those two core beliefs. And what I realized today is after breath work is that like I'm a lot, like I'm an a lot person. That's just who I am. And like I'm totally okay with like saying too much and writing too much and putting 700 emojis in things and like just being all fully in. And instead of this like grip in my heart, like I had this visceral physical grip in my heart that constantly stopped me like multiple times a day, that I would have to stop, like work through to be able to function. Like all of that is gone. I just show up as myself, unfiltered, and move through life, and the opportunities that are coming from that and the way that I can interact with people. The biggest one I think for me is connection. Like I just was so afraid of what other people thought that I just had no real connection, and I always felt like I wasn't supported and I wasn't heard. And now, you know, I had an experience this afternoon where someone said, oh, you can do this, or if you want, you can do this. And I was able to like just sit with myself and say, like, what do I want to do? Well, this is what I want. And I just described to them like, this is what I want to do with that offer. And there was no fear, and like it was just my complete joy, me just asking for exactly what I need and exactly how I wanted, and it was fully received, and I can move on with my day. Like that for me is the most epic thing, to be able to just in every moment just ask, what do I need, what do I want, and show up fully. And sometimes you get that like, oh gosh, I wonder what they think, but there's no gripping fear, there's no anxiety, it's just like I literally feel like I'm living in this bubble of love and joy, even when things that might appear negative happen. It's like, oh, well, this is happening for me. Life is happening for me, not life is happening to me. And there must be something to this. And stop talking. I could keep going, but it's just
no, it's the best.
Yeah, actually, I've got a question. I'm just wondering, like, I'm actually just wondering what it took for you to create that for yourself, to go from feeling so intensely, it sounded like rejected essentially from, connection and relationships. I love the description of the push-pull.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
too
two
much
opposing.
and not
yeah.
I can't remember exactly how you phrased it, but
Yeah.
that really struck me.
Just, I'm too much and I'm not enough. They were literally the two sentences. And it to go from that place to this place. Look, honestly, it's just showing up in the breathe. Like that, the simplest way that I can answer that is to keep breathing. That, when
Can I say that when Kashmir appeared on the scene, she showed up.
Burst on the scene.
Burst on the scene. I think we had a couple of different containers going on at the time, and it was like you were there at each one, and it was like 2 hours in the morning, and it was like Kashmir is here. It was so good. There's like a feeling that when you really do actually just show up and throw yourself into the process, like you can, so much can happen.
I'm super curious though where that willingness came from. Like, how we talk about like the things that drive drive us to create the change. I'm curious what got you showing up for it.
I feel like I was in pain enough.
I remember a part of when you reached out to us, you said, I'm sick of it now. I'm really fed up with it.
All I'm saying, what I'm curious about is because everyone wants the change, right? Yeah. But not many people can create the change to happen. And I get it, the showing up, and I'm curious what drove it, because it's like I'm just actually very fascinated by how do human beings manage to create such a dramatic change. 2 years from one way of living to a completely different way of living. And so the breathwork has been the supportive thing, but there's something about you that meant that you could apply yourself or show up, or, do you know?
I do hear what you're saying. Like, there's some external factors. Like, I have my daughter, and I wanted to really be able to be to do it different than the way that I was raised, and I was not showing up in that way. So I had a lot of pain around that. And the other side, the flip side of that was that I did I knew that there had to be something more. Like, I had a bit of a vision and like something that I really desired. And I knew that if I didn't do something now, that like 1 year's going to pass or 5 years going to pass, and if something doesn't change within me, then I'm going to be in exactly the same worst position that I am in right now if I don't make a choice. Like, and it was a choice, and it was consistent. Like, now it's a part of who I am. But at first it was a conscious choice every day. But it was that knowing that 1 year was going to pass and I'll be in the same or worse position, or 5 years going to pass and I'll be in the same and worse position unless something changes. And this was the thing that gave me the hope, the piece of hope that was like, maybe this is the thing that can make the change. And so there was the wanting to do better for my daughter, but also that internal drive of like, it's this or something better, and I want something better.
Yeah. Fascinating and so incredible.
So much.
Like, really inspiring, Kashmira. Super inspiring. Yeah.
It's so great to share, actually. It's really like, it feels like I really can say like this. I've had a full belief in breathwork for some time now. Like, in the community, you guys have heard me say so many times, like, I have no doubt about the power of breathwork. But really, as we came into 2024, it's like I can see it rippled out in my physical reality in like all the areas, like my home, my relationship with my daughter, and I just wish that I could like put that feeling into everyone. Like, this is possible for everybody.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
radiating.
Yeah, really inspiring. Thanks, Cash.
Anyone else want to share?
Someone, I'm sure, will have a thing. Yeah, go
Shelby.
I thought I'd just quickly share on the 21 days because I did Reconnected. I think I signed up right after the 5-day because that was more for the kids. I thought, what's there to lose? Jumped in, and with my yoga background of teaching for like 8 years then, I was like, I was really trying to figure out the breath you were using and all the pranayamas you throw in there. And I was like, this is like Ujjayi, this is like Shavasana, but like different. Yeah. And then I was like, well, I'm going to do it. I remember I did a 21-day yoga challenge, and then I did yoga teacher training. So I was like, I know 21 days is powerful to spark change. And then, so I joined the June one, and this was after all the lockdowns and all this crazy stuff, and me coping with like having craft beers and wines at night to soothe me. And how old was she? 10 months old when I first did your 5-day one. And she was 2 or maybe turning 3 years old. And and I was about to go back to work, maybe didn't know what that was going to bring. I was a bit stressed about going back into teaching more and everything like that, and the busyness and like wrapping up my postpartum. But like it really helped, because when the 21-day challenge started, I was like, I want to be able to be with this, like have the capacity to be mom and like go to work. And I was doing daycare, and that was really hard on me. And it really helped me find ease in that. It's kind of hard to look back. But a big thing was like I finally was able to book flights back to America to see my family. They hadn't met my daughter yet. Like last time my mom was here was during the bushfires on the south coast of Australia. So my nervous system was just like screaming. I could do yoga every day and I felt good about myself, but it wasn't like getting into the depth of what was there and like feeling. I couldn't feel. I've always had times of numbing and drinking, and I was born epidural and everything, so it's like been a thing my whole life. It's not safe to feel. And at 21 days finished, and we went to America with my husband and my 2 daughters, and it felt like easy to fly with them. It felt like it was no big deal. I was waiting for me to feel that like anxiety creep up, because I was very much an anxious person moving from America to Australia. People were like, what? Or to New Zealand first, but people would be like, I think in Australia and New Zealand, they're a bit more easygoing compared to the rush.
Slow pace.
Yeah, it's a bit slower, and I put so much pressure in life. And now, like, I'm seeing I'm able to be with, like, it doesn't have to be stressful or hard, and just expanding into that, allowing of, like, I have, my good days still, and some days I'm really low, but I'm able to be with that without, like, I'm pregnant now, but without like getting a drink of wine or like.
And a lot of people resonate with that, and we had Siobhan say that too, that she really related to you in the last 21 days, just coming out of it without the vices. And it's like so culturally normal to like have a wine at night and like coffee in the morning and a wine at night, and you just don't feel good, and there is more
espresso martini middle, like
espresso martini middle. And it's so I'm inspired to hear that breathwork gave you something else to free from that.
I've got a specific question for you, Shelbs, if you're open, but no pressure to answer. But I've been so pumped and moved that you've showed up every day this week as a participant, even though you have so much like capacity to lead your own breathwork practice. So I know how much, like, it does feel like a family, this community sometimes. And I wanted to ask you, because this is the I Am nervous system reset. So I know you've done quite a few, and you've really been tuning in from this participant's perspective. And I'm so curious about how what you've found in your own process unfolding around core beliefs this week, and if there's anything that you would like to or be open to sharing from your own process around core beliefs specifically.
Yeah, you all really hit, and I've seen with the other breathers in the community, you all really hit it this week with us. Like, it's really cool. Just when you were reading the core beliefs, I was like, oh, that's me. really acknowledging my main response, my dominant response. And I've always been a procrastinator, always making pressure. And then today, I'm definitely in the birthing atmosphere, anticipating my third one in like 9 weeks. And, you know, never trusting birth ever in the past 2 births. And I've had some crazy outcomes, traumatic births. But you know, the thing about breath work is like, it takes us out of the victim, you know, state. Like you know, I'm going to have a choice. And intentions have been hard to like really set, like to believe and like, okay, I can ask for anything I want. I can set an intention on anything. And then today, you know, I've been breathing on just being fully supported and deserving, like adding deserving to it. I kind of jazzed mine up a bit today when I went to another, like way bigger. But this has helped me like ask for more. Because I don't know where to start. It shifted something big. But yeah, just being in a freeze like my whole life, and you know, combined with all this journey I'm on towards this baby coming, and I don't know, I think breathwork's helped me be with other modalities like therapy. I never really tried much. Somatic stuff. And so I don't know, it's a culmination of a couple things, but just I don't know where to go. What's like, how can I really put this into words? But today, landing in a place where I can trust birth, like I'm still blown away by this new feeling today. Or this week, it was kind of floating there, and then that really helped me anchor into like why I couldn't trust it, because I couldn't feel. And you say it all the time, it's safe to feel, and I really couldn't feel. Like when people ask me what's happening in your body, and I'd be like, oh, like I don't want to tell you, and then I've been able to identify where it all started. So yeah, and basically I've come to like, I can hold my pain. I'm going to hold my babies, the pain that whatever they bring, I can be with it. And my daughters. Yeah. So I just feel like my heart's like, I've always felt like it's, you know, children bring more love, but now I can hold it more. I can be with it. So it's a great feeling. I'm like, let's keep it.
And isn't it so different from like a body knowing, you know, like we can affirmation ourselves into, I trust birth, but like, unless you get that real body anchored, it's landed, like there's just,
I had to be with not trusting though first. It took me a long time to say.
I love that you
prenatal yoga teacher. It felt like I'm inauthentic. I'm not allowed to say that. And now I can be with it all.
Definitely. Thank you for saying
it's
that.
So
because
good that you said that.
You know what can happen is we get really goal orientated, and we just want to be resolved, and we just want to be integrated, and we just want to trust everything, and we just want to feel good about ourselves, and we
dismiss.
And it stops us from feeling the full impact of the not trusting, which takes a lot of capacity, doesn't it? Ultimately, you know, it does. And we go step by step as we can, when we can, and then one day something has shifted and we are ready for that moment. I'm so grateful that you were here this week and to have shared, because it feels like a big, you know, such a celebration.
That's huge. Thank you. I'm gonna anchor this in.
So good. Thanks so much.
Sandy, I don't know, I can see you maybe feeding Bobs, but I know you've been participating as well, and I wanted to kind of extend the same question to you, like how it's been with the core beliefs theme this week and where you're journeying. But if it's not the right time to throw to you, you tell us and we'll just flow.
No, it's fine. Well, I just wanted to say firstly that just to give a different perspective, I know like a lot of people do come to breathwork and maybe these containers, the 5-day freeze and stuff, because they're in pain enough. But if I was to be truthful, when I came to it, I didn't identify with being in pain enough. I actually felt like life was fine. I felt like I was living a great life, you know, was ticking all the boxes I was supposed to be. But in hindsight now, the one thing I would say is that I wasn't embodying my fullest expression at all, but I just wasn't aware of it. So there is so much beyond breathwork, like after breathwork, that you gain that you couldn't even know that you were going to gain, you know? Yeah. It's like one thing to come in with a lot of pain and things that you want to work on, and you work on it and you see, you know, resolution. But it's like I came into it not really having any major pain points that I was aware of.
Yeah.
Yet, you know, so much changed.
Would you say then, like, I think maybe what, I don't know, but see if this resonates. It's like more, we sometimes just accept this conditioning.
Yeah.
And we actually coming from a conditioned response of what we think life should be.
Yeah.
We don't recognize the apathy or like acceptance, but like resignation.
Yeah, resignation.
That we're not even aware of, that we've kind of, I don't want to say bought, but like, you know, it's like, yeah, we just don't question it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. And I think I've shared this in previous chats I've had with you both, that I was just living a life that felt mapped out based on conditioning. And I just accepted that was normal.
Yeah.
You know, and just, oh, cute. Just accepted. So I didn't really, I didn't know there was anything beyond that was possible for myself. I thought it was possible for others. But as a first generation, you know, Australian and with a South Asian background, I just thought like, I'm just living that life that I can have, and that's it. That's my box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look back now, though, son, can you see how can you sense into now what was calling to you, or what was wanting to be more expressed? Or can you see now what your process back then was? Or like what got you in the door if it wasn't pain?
I feel like it's too big for this chat. Like it's too.
Let's blow it up.
No, like, you know, I texted you recently when I was reading this book about child-centered philosophy or something like this. And I was like, Eleanor, oh my God, like this was just going to happen. I was meant to be doing, you know, like it's just beyond. Like I don't understand. I can't explain it, because it's like something was, there were little pieces like years ago, before I came across Reconnected, before I had my girls, my children, and there was something that was calling me to this kind of work, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember I picked this book up because something, you know, I bought this book because I was drawn to, it was like a psycho-spiritual combo type of thing. I don't know how to describe it really. Not a mainstream how to raise kids type of book, okay?
Yeah.
And I tried reading it back then, and I don't think I got much past a chapter or so, and I put it down. And just like a couple of weeks ago, I picked it up again, reading it. I'm like, oh my God, like this is just all the stuff that has come up in my breathwork training, through the Reconnected. And it's like, there was some, I don't know how to explain that. That's beyond my mind, beyond what my ego can kind of conceive or plan for.
But what do you,
yeah.
But what do you think it was that was calling you? Because you would have had enough experiences now, I think, to maybe take a stab at it.
I mean, I think, like, again, it feels so big to say, but like, I think my spirit, my soul was just calling me forward to be the fullest expression of what I'm here to be in this lifetime. And it just took me a while to remember it. You know, it took me 30 something years to remember that. And the minute I connected with the breath, it brought me back to my essence and expressing that and fulfilling that and being of service. That's
Did you have fear in it? Did you have fear that you would be unrelatable? Did you fear that you would lose people?
Or
Did
like,
you
what
fear
was
that
your
you would
process?
be different?
What was your process?
Yeah, I came from a really academic background, really high achieving, working in the medical system, in the public health system. And yeah, I kind of was really tunnel vision and worked really hard to get to a certain place in my career, and thought that that was my dream job. But when I started to make this change in path, I definitely came up across a lot of fear that I was going to lose friends, colleagues, people. And it took me forever just to even talk about breath work. Like, I didn't have the words for it, like, you know. And there was a fear of rejection for sure, and being judged and not understood. Yeah.
And, you know, we all grow up with parts of ourselves that are rejected, not understood, unseen by our family, by our society, and then therefore by us. And, you know, there is this sense like, I think, you know, we talk about the ventral vagal state as being like, when you arrive in it, you feel like your true self again. Like the part of yourself that it's like, I think someone on the chat said they feel like they came home for the first time today. It's like that, you know, it's like, you know, there's a knowing. And I think when you come to it from a scientific mind, you want to intellectualize it, and we can come from it from this, like, I don't know, really thin perspective. But when you're in your own state of knowing, no one can take that away from you, or it's irrefutable for you personally. It's not for everyone else. It's like for you personally have your own sense of knowing and your own sense of your path and your spirit. And I mean, Alex, my teacher, says that about breath work. Breath work nourishes the spirit so it's free to be expressed. That's what she just, and also that it's a human nature to serve. And once we've integrated like that, there's something in our nature that's incredibly generous, that is here to be expressed as well. That's that availability. And like, I think, it's so beautiful to witness. Yeah. I'm so glad you took the combo there. I didn't know where it was going to go.
I didn't either.
So good.
As for the core beliefs, I was tuning in this week, and I it took me to one of the first sessions in one of the first in-person retreats I did, and I realized, there was a core belief that I rewired in a session. Now I realize I didn't realize it at the time, and I only realized this week, because I remember it was one of the last sessions of the week where I had this epic session and just really anchored in, I can do hard things, and that I can do hard things. And I had written a Instagram post earlier this week where I'd rewired, you know, I spoke about things that I've rewired. And I remember before breath work, one of the thought patterns would just be like, this is too much for me. I can't do it. Like, I can't handle this. Like, everything felt bigger than me, you know? And what's the point? What's the point of talking? What's the point to those two? But I can see now how that was rewired. Like, in that would have been a core belief.
It's too much. Too cute. Oh, that was so good. She stole the show with those. And you know it. And you know it. She's a circle baby. She knows. She knows when she's holding the talking stick.
she's, she's gonna start talking. Anyway, yeah, so that's one of the core beliefs I realized I had rewired. Yeah.
Isn't that such a cool core belief to rewire? I can do hard things. Yeah, so many people are terrified to do hard things.
We just hit up against, it's just give up, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hit the belief and then we give up.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was just at a point where even things that I get maybe others wouldn't have thought were very hard felt really hard and overwhelming, and I was stuck in that freeze and not able to move forward or express. And it was like, what's the point of talking? What's the point of expressing? Nothing was going to change. And yeah, like so much of that has absolutely changed.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I'm celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary this week, and
Wow.
I don't know if we would have stuck through to get to 10 years if I was still, you know, not speaking my mind and just completely shut down, you know.
Yeah, that's so powerful to think about. Love that.
Thanks, Santi.
Thanks so much.
Deb, for some reason, Santhia's share is kind of reminding me a little bit of your journey and your experiences with breathwork, and I could see you nodding and resonating a lot, and I'm curious what is resonating for you at the moment.
Well, so much. And I was reflecting on core beliefs, like to come to this share, and I have so many, so many came in, and I was seeing how they were all related, to each other as well, of course. And the one that really stood out for me is just this feeling of growing up, which I didn't know when I was little, but in the journey of coming back to myself, realized I just always felt completely wrong. So I was, looking back, the typical child who was questioning things or had a different perspective, and everything was shut down to the point where I, as you said, became completely a conditioned version of myself. And that was to survive. And looking back, only I realized I literally thought this is how I survived. But because it was not my natural way of being, I had to learn how to be. And so I developed a real strong hypervigilance and trying to get a read on what was going on, because I couldn't trust my read at all on what I was feeling or what I thought. And I guess when I became an adult, I think I thought, well, now it's my ticket to freedom, but those patterns still played out. So I was still really struggling to express myself, struggling to trust my thoughts, trust my beliefs, had no access to my body, my intuition, because emotions were not allowed. I had completely cut myself off from my body and my emotional world, because that was not safe as a child to express oneself at all. So I became as well very academic. I had an academic pursuit, and and so I was just resonating with what led me to breathwork. Was my impetus, I think, was my children, and wanting to parent them in a way that completely allowed them their authenticity. But I realized along the way, the triggers, of course, came up. Their authentic expression really triggered me. And so I felt like a complete failure again, like I'm wrong. What's wrong with me? I can't do it. No matter how much my mental brain understands the content or the teachings of conscious parenting, I could not implement it the way I wanted to. But within me, as Sandhya was saying, was just this incredible drive to realize my full potential and to break through. And ultimately became about me expressing my authentic self so that I could hold space for my children's authenticity.
What does it mean to you, Deb, that you've been able to do this more more closer to how you wanted it to go for you and your kids? And what has it meant for you?
It feels like I'm fulfilling my purpose, which is to be my authentic self, and to by doing that enable everyone to be their authentic selves. Like it's so like to embody it. It's just like everybody should get this gift. It's like your birthright to show up as who you really are. And you know, I think you were saying in this morning's live or the previous one, the society just isn't built that way. It's just complete opposite. So it takes like real persistence and commitment and just a deep willingness to, and also just, I relied so heavily on what I call expanders, just people who were living in that way, living from that place. And I was like, if they can do it, then I can do it. You know, if they can do it, then it's real, it's true, it's possible. And it just means that, like, gosh, what does it mean? It just means, like, for me, a big thing when I reflected on goals, freedom just always came up. Like, I want to be free. But at the time, it was like freedom in the external world, you know, like getting in your car and traveling for a year, or just having so much money, you can do whatever you want. But freedom is like just freedom to be yourself. And it means that I'm passing on that legacy to my children, like by embodying it myself and giving them that freedom. And then that ripple down effect, you know, it's just like the generations that are to come will feel that. Will know that. And it's like exactly what you say about, like, I knew on a mental level, you know, being academic, coming from a mental space, that I had the right to be myself, but and that I wasn't wrong ultimately. But it's only recently with the breathwork that it's like that real embodied, like, of course, this is just naturally, this is natural, this is who I am.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm so curious, you know, because you've been in the community, like supporting people as they've been taking their first steps this week and meeting breathwork for the first time yesterday. If you were able to say something to some of the people that you've been supporting, is there anything that you would want to share? Because sometimes we can feel a little bit limited by the typing, and I just wanted to just invite you to share anything that you
like, I was thinking this morning, you don't need to know the whole path. You don't need to know where you're going. You just need to know what the next step is, you know, just what's the next step in front of you. Because the conditioned self doesn't really know where it's going, you know. The conditioned self doesn't know where your true self wants to go, where you're meant to go. So it's just like, just take the first step. You just need to see the first few steps in front of you and take action in your best interest, you know, what's your heart calling you to do? And if it's to sign up and join us for 21 days, great. And if it's just the next breathe, and you're just trying to set an intention, just what's the next step of where you want to go? And I like to say, follow the breadcrumbs. Like this next step after that will reveal itself. Like, life will start to show you. You'll start to trust that life is showing you already where you need to go. And that's what I did with my journey. I had no idea what the breathwork journey where it was taking me, really. And so I would just use the pain points in my life to guide my intentions. Well, this doesn't feel like it's aligned. So how would I prefer it to be? And then it would be the next thing. This doesn't feel good, or it doesn't feel like what I want in life. So I'll just breathe on that. And that led me to like a deep trust in like co-creating with life. Like, life is really showing us all the time. So if you just want to know, like, you're just new to breathwork, just where in your life does it feel misaligned? Does it feel untrue? And just move towards that. And we're all here to completely support you. Like, when it gets scary, it feels like too much, just reach out. You'll have the support that you need in this container, really.
you know what you're reminding me, Deb, is like that point in someone's journey that's inevitable. Like sometimes it happens in 5 days, sometimes it's 21 days, sometimes it takes longer, but this change in our relationship to pain and difficulty and challenge, where it stops being something that we want to avoid and becomes something
becoming exciting.
We want to like move towards, explore, because, and I think what's behind that is a knowing of our capacity or power or ability to change it into something that is going in the direction that we'd prefer for it to go, rather than staying stuck. One of my favorite things someone said to me once was, I've suddenly realized that the challenges are just areas I need to breathe into.
Yeah.
Whole person, and that is such a paradox. Like if you could just like give everyone that perspective shift. Game change.
And I reached a point where I remember, I don't remember when it was, but it was sometime in the last 3 years where it was like a clear junction in the road. Like, okay, well, this is really hard. This is a lot of pain that I'm coming up against in touching these edges of my box. And so just decide, like, the pain of staying the same or the pain of moving into the unknown. And that's where I really leaned on these expanders, like people that had moved through it, that there was something better, and just leaning on trust that the unknown was where I needed to be to recreate myself.
And you know what, Deb? I just want to read something back to you, because I want to mirror something back to you. I just saw Valerie put an amazing comment in. She said she's been tuning in all week, but she said, this feels like the final piece of my puzzle. She shared that while you were speaking. And I'm wondering, while you're sharing how expanders have been such a huge part of your journey, I just want to mirror back the expansion you just gave someone. And I'm curious how it just feels to be here expanding others.
Yeah, so good. Like, so good. So much like part of my path, my soul journey, my service to others. Like, and I mean, I still rely on expanders, you know, I still rely on expanders.
Same.
It's my favorite thing ever.
If you want to see my last message to Emma, it's a picture of someone who's an expander for me. And I said, I want to be her friend.
Yeah.
We all need people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I do that in all areas of my life, because my box was so different. I mean, it wasn't like a tiny box, but it was just very different to who I authentically was. Yeah. So I had to look for expanders because they didn't exist in my current reality.
Exactly the same for me. I had nobody who was successful in their own right, spiritual, you know, excited about things outside the mundane world of whatever, go to work, get your job, do your thing. Like, I had to purposefully go out there. And to be honest, I'm so grateful for social media, because that's where I found it without needing to go too far, you know. It really opened my eyes to the world of possibilities. And I love that you said you don't need to know the next steps, because I remember this really clear moment where I went to my breathwork training without going to train, and I landed there and I said, I don't know how I got here. I don't know why I'm here right now. And it was at a moment where I had a breathwork session where I made an awareness point of what I'd been really carrying, and the shame and the just the shock of it was just like, wow, I don't even know how I got to this place. But I just started to realize, like, oh, this is for a reason. Like, why was I carrying that? And then when I got into that space, I started to meet people who had used breathwork in order to expand their life immeasurably. And I just trusted it step by step, but I had no idea what it was going to look like. My intention wasn't even to be a breathworker. I was just like, well, I am not having a fun time in life. life sucks. And if this is going to be something that's going to give me true change, because I had tried a lot of talk therapy and I was really good at manipulating my psychiatrist. I just could manipulate them out of any type of conversation. I'd talk them around in circles.
On the other side of that conversation a lot of times.
I would talk them around in circles so I didn't actually have to feel the pain. Because I didn't feel safe enough, ready enough to go there. And with breath work, I had no choice because I tapped straight into the nervous system. And not only that, there's a magic with breath work where you have people like yourselves in the room who hold such a deep and profound safe space that there is a safety that's available. And so I made it a touchstone with it. And from that moment, I was like, well, why was I carrying that? That's not even mine. Like, I realized half of it wasn't even mine. I was like, I'm carrying generational stuff here and I want to be free. So I love that you said that about not needing to know the next step, because it's so true. It's like, just if you're here and you sense you want to do things differently, take the next step, whatever that is for you, whatever feels right. So true.
Yeah, I also didn't do the practitioner training to become a practitioner. I just wanted to have the tools. And I love being a practitioner, but I also still use the tools to enhance other areas of my life and other dreams that I have, as we all do, of course. And the only other thing I want to really say is, like Eleanor, you were both speaking on the live this morning about affirming experiences. And I spent like the first half of my life having all of these affirming experiences that I was wrong, that like one of the other core beliefs of mine is that love is earned. You have to earn love. And so being wrong and having that core belief of having to earn love was like a double whammy, because I was constantly trying to fix myself in order to be loved. And as you do this work, or as you trust the breathwork practice and just show up, just literally show up for intention setting and breathing, reach out for support, I started to have so many affirming experiences of the opposite belief. And so you will get like different breadcrumbs, you'll get different synchronicities, and that is so it like accelerates your process, because you're like, oh wait, people are coming into my life that do see me for who I am. And I didn't feel like I belonged in a lot of circles, and suddenly I'm like, oh, I feel, and I'm starting to, whether it's on social media initially or in person, I'm starting to have experiences where I do belong. And just like you said, Emma, like I didn't grow up in a reality where this was possible. But as you go on the path and start to examine those core beliefs and make a touchstone with new ones, those affirming beliefs come in, and it just reinforces the work. So you want to show up more, you want to do more breath work. It becomes a pleasure to do the work, even when it's hard.
I don't know if you guys are going to resonate with this, but I've noticed for myself, and I've noticed it for a lot of people, that it's almost like we only need, I'm going to backtrack. There is a sense of something is drawing us towards it, that we're not sure what it is, and there's a pull. But also, once we have seen what that is,
the change,
even for a second, then
it's
we
painful.
cannot. No. I mean, then we cannot not go for it, because we know that it's there and we know that it's possible.
That's what I mean. It's painful when we don't. It's just like, it's like you've made that connection, and it's like, this is where you can never go backwards. Because once you've made a connection to yourself, it's like you've gone all the way. It's like and of course, in that moment, in the next moment, you can forget and experience discomfort,
upset, challenge, doubt. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to, I don't, oh no, even worse despair than I've ever experienced before now. Or,
now I'm conscious of it.
And then it comes around again, this connection to the self, and it just continues to expand until it's your dominant experience,
Yeah. And also in my journey up till now, I've had the experience of when I tried to go back to old ways, my life experience was like, this isn't going to work. Just nothing worked anymore. So it's like you can only ignore like what life is throwing at you for so long until you might also have no choice but to face it. And that's really, really confronting and hard. And that's kind of just the journey. It's just the journey. And being in this space, you will be able to have the support to realize that it's normal. Like, because I thought I was doing everything wrong. I thought I was failing at life, whereas actually everything was going exactly as it needed to for me to become who I was supposed to be, like Sandhya said, like for me to really become the fullest, most actualized person that I needed to become.
And isn't it so powerful?
Everything feels like it's going wrong. It's actually going exactly how it needs to.
Yeah. And the compassion that you can give yourself now is the compassion you can give others when they are in those deeper, darker spaces of themselves. I actually had a belief that people didn't change. I had this belief that people didn't change, and it was through my breath work that I did like a complete change, and I am nothing like the person that I was in my harder moments. And it gave me so much compassion, and I realized, people really do change, and you can never actually pin someone for where they were at a particular point in their life, and to stay open and curious and expanded around people. I had that belief. We're conditioned to believe that.
Hey, thank you so much, Deb. That was just such a beautiful conversation. I really actually have this question I want to ask, and Varishka, I'm wondering whether this is maybe something, I wonder if you relate to it. I'm not sure. Or maybe you've witnessed people being in this place, but we're not quite there yet in the journey. Like this week, we still have breathwork tomorrow. But, a lot of people at this point in the 5-day nervous system reset, they're considering the 21 days, but there's this thing that happens, and it's like we start hovering over our decision about whether we're going to go on and do 21 days. And it is one of these like sliding doors moments, but it is also this, like, there is a lot happening in that moment where we make that call. And one of the things my teacher used to say is the process starts when we book in. And so it's like that moment before we book in, a lot can get kind of thrown up for us. And when you were describing your feeling around, you came into the group and then you held back a bit, or you couldn't quite be there, I was like, how on earth did you push that button? Because I'm just curious.
I'm giggling because you couldn't have asked a more perfect question.
Really?
I had so much paralysis. This is exactly so reflective of my journey, because I did the first container, and I was in such a place of abandoning myself, and I had so little trust in life and in the unfolding of life, that to click and pay for a process where I was fully investing in myself just felt so out of reach, because it meant sacrifice from other people or for my family, and I just didn't have enough self-worth to press the button. And I did a couple more free offerings, and then I came to a place through the short breeds where I realized it was almost like that fork in the road. it makes me so emotional to think about it, because
Yeah.
it was exactly the bubbling up of that core belief that I'm worthy of stepping into that process, even if it means sacrifice, even if it means it's going to be scary or confronting.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I reflect back on my journey, it's such an important, because I came from a kind of screenwriting background, it's your hero's journey. It's that moment where you enter your cave, and it's so rewarding. And if I look back on what the trajectory that moment brought me to this moment now, and how differently I feel, that the fear, the paralyzing fear that I felt, that kept me in a process for about, I think it was 6 months. It must have been 6 months between the paid programs.
Yeah.
To work on, I'm worthy enough to do it. And I didn't feel worthy, and I didn't trust. And so stepping into that moment was such a big step. And I'm so grateful I did. And I think it is witnessing other people and the expanders, and just cultivating enough trust, just that little bit, to trust that I'm going to be okay through it. And it so relates to the core belief that one of the major ones that I've been busting through is that I really came into this world with a deep fear of life. And I couldn't understand why I spent nearly a decade making myself invisible. I was such a pleaser, I tamped down a lot of my big feelings and my intuition, and channeled that into achieving, also like extreme academia. I was only hinging my worth on what other people reflected back as me as success, and then entered another world where just quite, you were expected to generate your own path, and I didn't know what to do. And I kind of forced myself through a process, and I really feel like I lost touch with that, and for a decade spent hiding. And then I had my son, and that kind of awakened that sense of my power again.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't step into that. And then when I found you all, you kind of expanded that's okay. The permission to just be in the fact that I felt so deeply lost, and that was part of the process, and part of all of these core beliefs releasing was so profound. And that got me to the point where I felt safe enough to go deeper. And I had meditated for 20 years, had a devout yoga practice, did so much therapy, read all the self-help books, did all the podcasts, but I understood it cerebrally. That I couldn't, what I felt in those short breaths was a connection to my body and to my spirit, and it was in me. And the best way I can describe it was that I've cultivated a kinship with myself. I could feel myself being with myself in the breaths, and it didn't have to be positive or negative, but I could be with, and that being with has been such a catalyzer in this. And that's what it's given me, and that's what these containers have done. And I'm so grateful that I stopped hovering and just backed myself enough to, and I backed myself through other people.
I love it. Well, I wanted to ask you that, because one of the things that people fear about is that if they can't contribute because they're too afraid, or they don't feel safe enough yet to share vulnerably. When you joined the 21 days, what did you get out of other people's shares? You know, because we do the debriefing and the intention setting, and even though you weren't contributing in the sense of feeling safe enough to like go there, what were you getting out of it?
I think you just see yourself in other people, and it doesn't even have to be the same scenarios, but I think that's why I connected with Kashmira, because you were speaking, I remember at the time you were speaking a lot about just, you were being so vulnerable with your emotion, for example, or whenever people would just reveal aspects, and I thought, oh, I plug into, that is me. That is me. And as soon as I found those anchor points, I remember, Deb, you were saying this, like I just didn't feel like I was the only one. Like, I'm not weird. I'm not strange. I'm not broken. I am just a human being on this path, and there's so much possibility. And I think that's what you do, is you see other people, witness their shifts, see little shifts in yourself, and it just gives you that hope and that possibility. And then you start feeling shifts too. And then that kind of moved me across the threshold, because then I felt like I could share safely because I'd kind of moved through something. And now I've transformed that a lot. I feel like I have developed a lot of courage around that vulnerable side of myself, and not controlling the vulnerability, just letting it authentically be there, and it can be received however it needs to be received.
Yeah. You know what I'm so curious about? Because I actually didn't realize that you had joined a 5-day and then not gone on, and then joined a 5-day and then decided to join us for 21-day. And I'm so curious, did you consider joining, or like, can you just walk me through it? Because like, did you consider joining, but then what happened? I always wish I could be there, because I want to understand. Yeah.
I think I just was to invest that time and money and effort in. I just felt too scared. And I think if I look at myself now, I was so unresourced, and I wasn't sharing that I needed that to anybody. So no one in my circle could back that. I'd become so internal. Whereas now I think it's so different. I would know that that's what I need to take the next step on my process, and I wouldn't have so much doubt.
What would you say to yourself now? Like, standing where you are now, knowing what you know now, and going back to that version of you, oh my gosh, I feel teary, who, you know, couldn't join because you didn't have what you needed.
Oh, I would just want to kind of put my arms around myself.
Yeah.
And give myself a moment of what I've craved my whole life, that you can see you. And it's an act of love and devotion to hold yourself and know what you need, and to ask for it. And to also just, it's almost like a bit of a free fall, to just trust you're going to get caught, because I am amazed how much stuff has appeared on my path, that when I took that moment of blind trust, that appeared along the way. And that's what it did. It gave me so much more than I ever could have dreamed. And it almost sounds like it's too good to be true, but I think when you move from that place of deep, it's a knowing that you don't know you know, but that intuition that you just need something more for you, and that your dreams and your being is valid and worthy and lovable and precious. And to take an act that cherishes that in whatever form, that's a deep act of love for yourself.
Yeah, it's like, I honestly wish that I could get in the shoe. Like, if I could be right there with someone, unpacking it all, you know, in that moment, to like, breath work, no breath work, breath work, no breath work. It's just like, if I could just be there, just like breath work, you know, like, or just at least like, what is it? Because it is that we are so unsure or unconscious, or we're drawn but we also don't trust, or we're drawn but we also I've resonated so much with the not feeling worthy of investing, or not being worthy. And you know what I've noticed is, so many people feel wrong for even needing it. Not even consciously, but it's like, the fact that I want to, there's something wrong in the needing of this, you know. And it's actually like the flip. We could fully flip that, because our culture sets us up to need this, actually. And it's the polar opposite. It's like, we really do need these practices. And yeah, I love thinking about just the energetics of it all, and the synchrony of it all, and the divine guidance of it all, and the timing of it all, and the way that we all come to this in the exact right moments that we need. And it's like, I don't know if I said this today. Did I say today something like, because what I'm thinking about now is I think when we're talking about the core beliefs, it was like, it's just going to happen. Like the change is inevitable. And I believe ultimately that self-connection is inevitable for all of us, ultimately, because I have seen how life will just continue to throw things. Like Deb, you said it, like when you tried to go back, you kind of couldn't, because life just made it too hard for you to go back to those old ways of relating. It's like, we will continue to just get in more and more and more pain or difficulty, or our conditioning will dissatisfy us more and more, or we'll feel more and more disconnected from life. Like, and Cash, I heard this when you shared, like you got to the point where you realized it's either going to get worse or I make a change.
Yeah.
And like, that's like where the rubber really hits the road, where you saw it clearly. Yeah. But for most people, well, what I've seen is that change is inevitable, or difficulty is inevitable. You know what I mean? It's like, but that is the catalyst. And so there's this continual, it's like our psyche is so fascinating, and life is so fascinating. Consciousness is so fascinating. Awareness is so fascinating. Everything in our life is set up in a way so that we can wake up to our true nature, or so that we can experience ourselves completely, you know, or so that we can integrate and live from a place that we know consciously or unconsciously is possible for us. And it just continues to unfold like this. But it is inevitable that we all come to this place. Yeah, I think. Like Varushka, it's like it was a matter of time. It might not have been your 21 day the first time, or it might not have been your time to have breathwork in your life at that time. But I don't know. I have a feeling. Is this true? I don't want to put words in your mouth. But
no,
did you?
That is so reflective. Yeah, I feel like the timing of it landed so perfectly.
Yeah.
But if it had happened earlier, well, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like the unfolding of it was so perfect, because it set me up for a lot of life change that happened after that. And I felt like I was robust enough to hold it all, and I wasn't terrified. And of course, there is a level of fear that was still operating, but I had my system just felt robust enough to survive it all. And it wasn't just surviving, it was a level of tuning into life in a much richer way, and seeing it for all of its complexity, not just wanting just the good. And the timing was perfect in my life, and I'm so grateful for that too.
And in the 6 months, or however long it was, for the one that you didn't sign up for, was it on the back of your mind, like next time?
It killed me, because I could see. I had a lot of regret, so that was probably the strongest motivator. It shortened the hovering.
Yeah.
Just because it was so beautiful to witness people's stories, and I saw myself in a lot of people, and I just thought I really deeply want that for myself and my son and my family and my process. I just was so tired, so fed up. I think I had to push so far on that spectrum of frustration in pain enough to do it, and that made it a lot easier. I mean, I think I signed up on day 3.
I love that.
That's so good.
Well, this has been such an epic. We have gone way longer than we even imagined, but I'm also not surprised.
Yeah, it's been such an epic combo.
Yeah, it's been such an epic combo.
You guys took this.
Yeah,
actually.
and thanks so much, everyone. 300 plus people have been watching the whole time, because it is so inspiring to see people go from where they were at to really living to the authentic pulse of their soul. So thank you. This will be available for replay, and thank you so much, everyone.
Can I just say one more thing, Emma?
Yeah.
So I just want to invite everyone to tune into, you know, if you resonate with the idea that life is always giving you hints or breadcrumbs to follow, you know, just to tune into why you're here and whether this is a breadcrumb on your path to whatever it is you desire.
I love that.
I felt like giving everyone a chance to say some heartfelt words, because I felt as well, Kashmir, did you want to say anything to anyone? Because I just to have a chance as well to say what you need to say to all of the people you've made connections with this week.
I do. I just, you know, I've been witnessing people as they like tap into their beliefs and feel into like where they're at, and that little the hope bubbles that are there and the steps that are going in that direction. And I just want to say I see you like in the process, in the material, in the place where it's like, and I'm fully backing you. Like I see what's possible for you, and I'm fully backing you. That's what I want to say to you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Kashmir.
Kash. Varushka, have you got any words you'd like to share?
It's rare for me to feel speechless, but I think I have. I'm just feeling into how special this moment is for so many people, and to be on this journey, and just the honor it is to witness that in others, and an honor to serve, and to just be in this space all together, and just that exactly what Kashmira said, that we're just backing that beautiful transformation that's inevitable, and it's just going to bring you so much depth and truest version of yourself. So it's just such a special thing.
Thanks, Varushka.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you also to Shelby and Sandhya.
Yeah. And Deb and Kashmira and Varushka, thank you. So beautiful to feel you on this side of the camera. It's just feels right.
Yeah.
And we just appreciate the support that you give everyone here at the Nervous System Reset so much.
And there has been a lot of really beautiful shares in the comments, everyone. So if there's something that you would love to share again in the replay so that our beautiful panel here can read it, because you said so many beautiful things to them, please share it again. Thanks, everyone.